You could be getting better performance out of your DualSense Edge controller, but you might be having this issue. Let me explain. Look, we all know how essential those back pedals are. It's probably the reason that we bought this Pro controller in the first place. But if they ever stop working, I got something interesting to tell you today that might help you save your controller and possibly make it even better than it was before. So I'm going to show you what I use and exactly how I replaced it. This video is sponsored by eXtremeRate, who sent me over the replacement switchboard kit and back pedal replacement. When you first get the kit, it's a little intimidating when you think about everything that has to go into it. You're basically dissecting or taking apart your controller. And I was a little bit nervous at first, but after going through the process, especially with this being first of its kind, it's actually pretty easy. The first thing you want to do is get the prying tool, which is the blue tool, and you want to pop out the L1 and the R1 triggers. After that, you want to flip the controller over, slide over that button on the back, and pop out the front plate, and remove that. Next, you want to take that same blue prying tool that you have, and you want to remove the back plate. Now, if you're new here, I have another video on my channel explaining exactly how to replace this part specifically in more detail. You can check that out if you want. Once you remove the back plate, you want to remove the two screws where the L1 and R1 triggers are at. You just unscrew those, and then on the back plate, depending on if you're a newer controller or an older controller, you may have 3 more or 3 less screws to do. But basically, you just need to unscrew all of them. I have the original OG controller, so I have 3 additional screws. If you have a newer DualSense Edge, you probably don't have the 3 screws at the top, and it should be a much faster process for you. Now after you do that, take the same blue prying tool, and now you want to separate the top half from the bottom half of the controller. We're basically going to split it in half. But be careful when you're doing this. When you take off the bottom half of the controller, the trigger stops have like a little sheet or a mat that sticks on it, and sometimes it can fall out. If it comes out, no problem. You can always just slide it back in, but that's just something to keep aware of. Because when I first did this, I tried to put it back together, and then my sheet kind of fell out of its place. So then I had to undo it and put it back because the trigger stops were not going to work anymore because they were being blocked by that sheet. But it's a simple fix. Just undo it, put it back, and it should work like normal. Now that you have it open, what you want to do is go to your battery and you want to unplug that. We don't need to turn it on, and we don't need to shock ourselves or anything like that when doing this process. Next, what you want to do is grab a pair of tweezers and unplug these 2 blue ribbons right here from the controller. And after that, you want to also unplug this black and red cable from the switchboard. So far, not so bad, right? Now we're starting to get into the nitty gritty. You want to take your screwdriver, which is provided in the kit, and you want to unscrew these 2 screws from this plate right here. After you do that, you want to remove the back button board, which is pretty much where the paddles plug into on your controller. You want to remove that, but be careful. It's got 2 little white pieces on the end. Make sure you don't lose those. But if you do, the good thing is the kit provides extra. Now for me, this was the scariest part. You're going to take your blue removal tool or your prying tool, and you want to take the switchboard, and you're going to want to pry that off your controller. You're going to hear a sound, but it's really just the glue unsticking from it. It sounds a little scary at first, but trust me, everything's going to be just fine. And you just take that off. Next, you want to take the ribbon that's attached to it, and you want to pull that out. Now that officially marks the halfway point. We're already halfway done. What you want to do now is grab the new switchboard from eXtremeRate, and you want to take this 3M tape that they provide, and you want to take it, unpeel it, and put it on the back. There's going to be 2 holes on the back of the switchboard. Make sure however you line up this tape on the back of that you don't cover those 2 holes, because those 2 holes are meant to fit back onto the mold of the controller. Now what you want to do is grab that blue ribbon that we just took out a second ago, and you want to put that into the replacement switchboard. Now the switchboard has a black side on it that has like a little flap. You want to lift that up first before you insert the blue ribbon. Once it's in there, then you put down the flap, push it back down, and it's going to secure it in place. Now what you want to do is unpeel the tape on the back of that new switchboard and put it back in the spot that you just got it from. But just make sure that you put in the left and the left and the right and the right for obvious reasons. But if you weren't really paying attention, it has a little L and R on it, just so you make sure that you're using the right piece. Now that we got that back in place, take the ribbon and tuck it back behind this little clip right here. Now it's time to put back the paddle button board. Now this part can be a little bit tricky, so putting pressure on it with your thumb on one side and then using tweezers to put in the other white clip on the other side will make it a lot easier. When you put it in, make sure the top side is facing you, or that white clip is on the flat side and not the other side. Now just grab a silver plate and then screw it back in place to hold down that button board. Now follow the same exact steps for the other side. You unscrew the plate right here, take off the back button board. Once again, be careful with these white pieces because we're going to need that to put it back. Take your blue prying tool and pry off the switchboard. Now if you're like me, you have a little bit of glue residue left behind, just scrape that off. Now again, pick up the switchboard and remove the blue ribbon from it, and then get the new replacement switchboard, and you want to get some double-sided tape again, put it on the back, and make sure you don't cover up the holes. Now pick up that ribbon, put it into the new switchboard again, lift up the black flap, slide it in, then fold it down to secure it in place. Now unpeel the other side of that double stick tape and put the switchboard back into the place of where you got it. Now take the back button module and put it back in place. Again, it has 2 white clips on each side, so make sure you have those. Put one side in, hold it down with your thumb, and grab the tweezers and grab the other piece and slide it onto the other end. Again, the top side facing you should be flat. Now take the back module plate cover and screw that back down into place. Also, I forgot to mention on this side, make sure the ribbon is tucked in behind that clip again. Both ribbons should be tucked in behind the little clip on the controller. Now take the tweezers and take the end of those blue ribbons and push that back into the slot where you originally pulled them out from on both sides. And after you do that, take the black and red corded clip and plug those back into the switchboard. These also have like a little clip that you can tuck the cords behind, so just go ahead and put those back where they go so that everything stays in place. Now grab the battery, plug that back up, and fold it back into place. Now pay very close attention. You don't want to be like me because I had to actually undo this and do it again. Take your button stops and slide them both to the very top. Make sure it's at the very top. Then go to the other half of the shell and make sure that the little button stop sliding guards are also positioned at the top. So when we put our controller back together, that they line up and it's not pushing through or poking through the other side to where you can't touch or adjust your back button sliders. So just make sure that those button sliders fit through the hole of these guards. Now we're gonna take the other side of the shell and we're gonna push it back together and we're gonna snap the whole thing back together. Make sure everything is pushed down and secured. Now before we go any further, we want to test our work. So take those back buttons, slide it back into the back modules and test them out. Are they clicky enough? Are they responsive enough? Have you fixed your issue? This is what we want to test before we go any further. If everything's all good, let's snap it back together. Screw in the 2 screws at the top where the R1 and L1 go. And then you also want to screw in the rest of the screws from the back plate to make sure everything stays in place. Now we want to take the back plate and we want to put that back in place. Line up the 2 clips on the bottom of the back plate. Make sure it lines up with the rest of the controller and then slide the rest of the back plate in and then snap everything down and secure it. After that, you take your front plate, you line it up to the 2 clips in the front and then you push it down like you're closing the trunk of your car. Then grab your 2 paddles, put them back in your controller, and you're good to go. Now when I did this process personally, I didn't have any problems with my back pedals, so they worked just fine. But after replacing it, it's very easy and I can definitely feel it being a little bit more clickier and responsive. So for anybody experiencing their back pedals not being as clicky, or if it's broken or it feels delayed, this is an excellent option to replace that so that you don't have to buy a whole new controller. I tested this out on several games, specifically Call of Duty Warzone because that's what I play the most. That's the reason why I got this controller in the first place, right? To have that extra performance when I'm playing first person shooters. And just in time for Call of Duty Rank on Warzone on Verdansk, which I cannot wait. And you'll definitely see me at the top of the leaderboards now that I got improved response time. So if you enjoyed today's video, please leave a like, comment, share with a friend. And if you really enjoyed the content, consider subscribing. And I'll catch you in the next one.